Hey, what in the world is happening with King County real estate? Well, let's check it out. It's sort of cool. You got the last 2 years of supply and demand, the green being the supply, the new listings, and the blue being the demand, the number of ones that came off the market for the last 2 years. And you can, a couple of interesting things. Okay. The supply. So the supply this last March was 2,300 new listings, which is about 30% less than March last year, 30% less listings, more or less, in King County. And the demand was roughly 30% less as well. So volume is down. It's the same as last March. So from your perspective as a buyer or a seller, not much difference, really. It's bad for people like me that have to sell real estate because there's 30% less buyers or sellers last month than last year. The same tracks for the previous months as well. Now, what's interesting to me about that, so for you, there are some markets meaning neighborhoods, house style, ages, conditions that sell very quickly. We've sold multiple listings that last month with multiple offers, and we've gotten outbid on some list, representing some buyers last month. And we've had equal luck in getting our buyers into houses with concessions, meaning we've had the sellers pay closing costs. So it's a mixed bag. It's still a seller's market. So last year, the year before that, seller's market, still a seller's market. It's just there's less on both sides by almost exactly the same amount. So we haven't seen anything to indicate we're breaking out of a seller's market, or that if you're a realtor watching this, you got to get hustling because there's 30% less business. Let's see how the thing plays out in the next couple of months, because what you can see is sort of what trend-wise I would represent as normal seasonality. In other words, March is this big jump over February. March is this big jump over February. March is this big jump over February. It's the same size jump. It's just relative to the previous month. It's just 30% less than previous years. So what's important to know about that is that for you as a consumer buying and selling real estate, you got to be intentional, careful, slow. That's always my motto, slow down and profit, that you don't want to make this process automated or quick, or, do something dumb like using a discount broker or Rocket Mortgage to make it as easy as ordering an Uber. No, you want to do a deep dive into everything, because there really are some bargains for you as a buyer, people that are pricing it like it's 2022 that are sitting there. You can get some bargains from them. Or on the other side of the coin, if you're selling, you got to be really careful in how you price it, because you don't want to price it like it's 2022. And if you're an agent and you're watching this, get hustling, buddy, because there's 30% less buyers. It's going to be an interesting shakeout. So if you have questions or comments, or you want to know more about the value of your home, or you want to know how we can get you into the perfect home using our Home Finder program, let me know. Aaron Hendon with Christine & Company over at eXp Realty. Talk to you soon. Bye. All right. Well, what is happening in Kitsap County real estate? What? Let's look, because it's really interesting to me. This is the supply and demand graph for last 2 years in Kitsap County. Green is the supply, blue is the demand. And it's important to remember that supply and demand is not just a good idea, it's the law. And given that it's the law, you want to deal with, get present to that. What is important is supply relative to demand. If supply is relative to demand is constant, then prices should stay relatively constant, regardless of the volume. That's what you're seeing here. So last year there were 25% more available listings than this year, and 25% more available buyers than this year. So volume is down about 25%, and it's roughly the same as 2021. So overall, the increase of interest rates and the other variables, inflation and the economic turmoil that we've seen have just slowed down buyers and sellers, but not one more than the other. That's why you're not seeing wild price swings. You might see a little haircut off the doubling of prices, but that would be normal anyway. So you're still in a seller's market in Kitsap. You still have to be careful about your pricing. If you're a seller, you want to make sure that you're not pricing it like it's last year, or like it's like you can get it at the heat of the market. But overall, it should be really sort of similar in terms of the available number of homes compared to the available number of buyers. It's heating up. Over last month, there's more available homes to choose from over last month, but that's typical. We see that every year, that this is getting toward the peak of the season. It's just, if this trend continues, the peak is going to be 25% less than the peak last year in terms of choices, and for choices, which is important to buyers, and 25% less buyers, which is important for you sellers. So you got to price it carefully. You got to, if you're a buyer, I would look for the people that priced it like it's last year and they're been sitting on the market, and you get to teach them a lesson and get concessions. We do that all the time. Or, we can use our home finder program and start door knocking for you, all those sellers that are scared but do want to sell. If we brought them a buyer, let's do that for you. And if you're selling, then you want to price it appropriately for the market, which is still a seller's market. So you're going to get a good price for it if you price it right. We just sold a house with 7 offers. We've done that multiple times last month. Multiple offers going. If you price it right, you're going to get multiple offers. So the market is still, if you're a buyer or seller, the market is strong. If you're a realtor, there's 25% less activity than there was last year. So you got to be really, really, really on the ball if you're a realtor. This is no longer just easy pickings. There's 25% less business to be had in Kitsap. So let's see what happens for the future. If you have questions about your particular situation, let me know. That's what I'm here for. All right. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company over at eXp Realty. Make sure you share this, like it, subscribe, all that good juju. We'll see you next month. Bye. What in the world is happening with Pierce County real estate? Oh my goodness. Well, you should go back and look at the King County update to get how, oh my goodness, this is. Because there's a couple of really interesting things if you like numbers and things like supply and demand. Because look, first of all, this is the supply and demand graph. The green is the supply, the new listings that came on during the month, and the blue is the demand, the number that went under contract. And it's important to know that this is pretty much the only thing that sets price. So you can hear lots of stuff about mortgage rates and lots of stuff about inflation and da-da-da, but the only thing that's really going to set the price is supply and demand. Now, mortgage rates could change demand, but it's going to be the demand that matters here. And people may not sell their houses in as great a numbers, and that's going to change the supply. But it always comes down to supply and demand. So what's interesting here is, first of all, in March, this last blue bar over here, this green and blue bar, green being supply, are about 30% less than last year, more or less 30% than the year before as well. So overall volume is down. The fact that there's just a skosh more supply than demand, that's a little different than last year, but not much different than the year before. So generally, Pierce County at this time, this tracks for historically the way things go in Pierce County. In fact, it's a little bit lower than we would expect from February to March. February to March this year is just slightly over. And it being 30% less is about the same as King County's overall volume. And by volume, I mean the total number of buyers and sellers. So for you as a consumer, you may hear things like the market's crashing or that the market is down, but they don't mean the prices necessarily. They could mean just the volume. And the only people that care about volume are people like me. 30% less buyers and sellers impacts my business. It doesn't impact the amount you pay for a home. Why? Because the demand is still there. The demand is just below supply. That's going to keep prices inflated. That's going to keep prices higher. If the demand stays near the supply, you're going to be in a seller's market, and you're still in a seller's market in Pierce County, more so than King County. Frankly, there's more demand relative to supply. And that's the key principle to keep looking at. What's demand relative to supply? Because if both go down the same as they have here, it's not going to impact prices. It's going to impact your realtors, the realtors in your life, but it's not going to impact prices. So the news gets that conflated all the time. They say things like, if you hear the words lower volume, you might think that's going to impact prices, but it won't if both supply and demand are at the same or impacted the same, which they are in this last month. Now, does that keep up? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you that. But what I can tell you is if you're a buyer, there are bargains to be had out there, people that priced it like it's 2022. And if you're a seller, there are people you want to make sure you don't price it like it's 2022. You want to make sure that you price it like it's 2023. Okay. You want to be consistent, and every house style, every condition, every neighborhood, every block is different. You cannot just wing this. Please, especially in times of change like this, where things are really different. That volume number is really different. There's less people buying and selling. There's a different market than there was. You want to make sure you slow down and examine your exact situation, so you get the best possible price for your home, or you get your home at the best possible price. Slow down and profit. Okay, that's the little motto of our channel now. Slow down and profit. If you have questions about your situation, make sure you reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. Okay. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company over at EXP. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, do all that great stuff. Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, what in the world's happening with Vashon Real Estate? Let's check it out. All right, this is pretty interesting. This is supply and demand last 2 years. Supply is the green, new listings on the market any given month. Blue, demand, number of homes that came off the market. So, given there's so little, activity on Vashon, and such little data, that one or two sales makes an enormous difference. It's hard to get a real read on anything. So you got to take a longer view, further out view of the thing. But, you've got a dip in supply compared to last year and an increase compared to last month. The demand is pretty much the same as last year, month to month, but the supply is about 25% less last month and this month. So that's going to have an upward pressure on price. Less supply, more demand, prices go up. That's the way it works. So there's less to choose from on Vashon. Now there's more each month, but there's, typically in a March, this was March of 2021. Here we got April of 2022, many more houses. April of 2022 here. Sorry, this is 2021. 2022 here, right? It's double what we had this month. So let's see. Are we going to get, that's May. Sorry. April is here. April is still more than we had this month. So what I would anticipate is more inventory coming on. Let's see what happens with the demand. We usually get up in the summer months to 15, 20, but if you go out, let's just look. If you just go out 5 years, you can see we're nowhere close to where we were before the pandemic in terms of available inventory or demand. So I would suspect you're going to see a steady prices on Vashon, where houses are the under median, under 800,000 are going to go quickly. Houses above 800,000 are going to need to be priced carefully, but should still move. You're still in a seller's market on Vashon, very much so. It's just, there's going to be less houses to sell. We're still in this low inventory stage of the last 3 years. And we'd have to figure out why that number would change with remote work still at least 3 days a week for most people. A thing. It's still, It's still an attractive place to live. The ferry's notwithstanding. And there's just not a lot of people moving off. There's just not. That's really what you get out of this graph, is that there's just not. So let's see what it brings us. But right now we've got less houses to choose from, little bit increase in demand. I would expect housing prices to stay steady, if not go up. And let's see if we can't get April, May, and June to be some real activity, some real choices. If you're looking to sell, I would do it sooner rather than later. I would do it before May, so that you're not stuck in that inventory glut, right? That you get towards the end of the summer, here and here and here and here. If it goes like it did in the past, you'll get stuck on the market. So I would get it sooner rather than later, and I'd price it carefully. If you're buying and you see something you like, I'd snap it up, because it's not going to be there later. And if you're looking to buy, right, and you don't find the right thing, then you could think maybe if you got lucky toward the end of the summer, there might be something for you. Don't think you can get whatever price you want anymore. Certainly not above median. Below median, you can get anything. You really could get the price exactly that you want. Above median, you got to price it carefully, because there's just less buyers at that price point, and inflation has taken its toll. So let's see what happens. I'd love to answer your questions. Every house is unique. Every situation is unique. Every, circumstance requires its own deep thinking. So let me know what you'd like to talk about. Share this, like it, subscribe, email me, text me, smoke signals, get a hold of me. Let me know how I can help you. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company over at EXP. Talk to you soon.